You are competent. You are hardworking. You may even be the most capable person in the room. And somewhere underneath all of that, you are quietly wondering why it feels like something essential is still closed, something you cannot unlock with more effort, more strategy, or more discipline. The ancient world had a word for women like you: God-fearer, a Gentile who acknowledged the God of Israel, attended the synagogue, respected the law, but had not yet crossed the threshold into full covenant relationship. Lydia of Thyatira was one of those women, successful, self-directed, religiously serious. And by every external measure she had already gone further than most. But she was still sitting by a riverbank in Philippi when Paul arrived, still searching, still on the outside of something she could not name. One of those listening was a woman named Lydia, a dealer in purple cloth from the city of Thyatira, who was a worshiper of God. The Lord opened her heart to respond to Paul's message. Acts 16:14, BSB. This is a Bible class about what happens when God opens what human effort cannot. Here is the main theme of today's class stated plainly. God does not wait for you to have everything in order before He opens your heart. He opens your heart so that everything else can follow. In the next 7 minutes, we are going to study 6 scriptures from Acts, Proverbs, Romans, John, Ephesians, and Luke that build a complete theological case for that claim. We are going to examine the Greek word Dianoigo, the precise word Luke chose to describe what God did to Lydia's heart, and by the end you will have what I am calling the open door framework, a 3-step tool grounded in Scripture that you can apply to any area of your life that still feels closed. We are working through Acts 16:14, Proverbs 31:16, 1:8, Romans 10:17, John 10:3, Ephesians 2:8, and Luke 24:45. Stay with me. This is more than a story about a woman in business. This is a theology of how transformation actually happens. Acts 16:14. Paul and Silas have arrived in Philippi, a Roman colony, the first major city in Europe, where Paul preaches the gospel. On the Sabbath, they go outside the city gate to the river, where a prayer meeting is already happening, and there is Lydia. What does the text actually say about her? First, she is a dealer in purple cloth from Thyatira. Purple dye was extracted from sea snails, extraordinarily expensive, exclusively used for imperial and aristocratic garments. Lydia was not a small vendor. She was operating in a luxury trade market that required capital, contracts, and credibility. Second, she was a worshiper of God, a God-fearer, a Gentile drawn to Israel's God, but not yet in full covenant relationship. Then Luke uses one specific Greek word that changes everything. The Lord opened her heart. The Greek word is Dianoigo. Transliteration, Dianoigo. Literal meaning: to open fully, to open completely, to open wide what was previously shut. Cultural weight. The word was used for opening a scroll, opening a womb, opening a locked gate. It implied something that could not open itself. It required an outside agent. Theological implication. Lydia's heart was not defective. She was already seeking. But seeking is not the same as entering. Only God can open what God has sealed. And the text is precise. The Lord opened her heart, not Paul's eloquence, not her religious effort, not her business discipline. God. This pattern of God opening what human effort cannot reaches back centuries before Lydia stood at that riverbank. She considers a field and buys it. From her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She sees that her trading is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. Proverbs 31:16, 1:8, BSB. The capable woman of Proverbs 31 is commercially shrewd, physically strong, and financially independent. She is precisely the cultural ancestor of Lydia, and yet the entire framework of Proverbs 31 is a woman who fears the Lord. Her capability is downstream of her reverence. Now, fast forward to the New Testament, Romans 10:17. Faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word about Christ. BSB. Paul is not in Philippi by accident. His presence at that river is the mechanism God uses. The word is the instrument, but the opening is God's act. And Jesus said it plainly in John 10:3. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. BSB. Lydia was not a random convert. She was called by name. The gate was opened for her specifically. This is not coincidence. This is covenant. Here is what all of these passages are saying together. You cannot open your own heart any more than a locked door can open itself. You can position yourself at the threshold as Lydia did, by going to the river to pray on the Sabbath. You can seek, you can prepare, you can listen, but the act of opening belongs to God. I am calling this the open door framework. God opens hearts that are positioned to receive. Lydia was at the river. She was listening. She was a worshiper. She had done everything within her power to be ready. And then God did what only God can do. For it is by grace you have been saved, through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God. Ephesians 2:8. BSB. This is the theological anchor of Lydia's story. Her capability did not save her. Her seeking did not save her. Her purple cloth empire did not give her access. Grace opened the door. Faith walked through it. And what happened next changed the entire trajectory of the European church, because Lydia immediately offered her home as the base of operations for Paul's ministry in Philippi. When God opens a heart, he opens a household. When he opens a household, he opens a city. Go to your river, Acts 16:14, BSB. Identify the one spiritual discipline you have been neglecting: the prayer meeting, the word, the community of believers, and return to it this week. Not to earn God's opening, to position yourself where God is already moving. Lydia did not wait for Paul to knock on her door. She was already at the river before he arrived. God's opening met her positioned pursuit. You cannot manufacture the opening, but you can be at the river. Stop explaining the door. Ephesians 2:8, BSB. Write down the area of your life that still feels closed. The relationship, the calling, the ministry, the healing. Beneath it, write, this door opens by grace, not effort. Stop trying to force it. Start trusting the gatekeeper. Why it works. Paul did not open Lydia's heart with superior argument. He preached, and God opened. The moment you stop straining to force a door open with your own strength, you free yourself to trust the one who holds the key. Open your house. Luke 24:45, BSB. The moment God opens your heart, open something you control to the people around you, your home, your resources, your time, your platform. Lydia's household became the first church in Europe. Ask, what has God opened me to give? Why it works. Luke 24:45 says Jesus opened their minds to understand the scriptures and immediately sent them out. An opened heart produces an opened hand. What God opens in you is never only for you. Lydia was a woman of extraordinary competence. She had built a purple cloth business across Roman trade routes. She was religious, disciplined, and serious about God. And still, on an ordinary Sabbath morning by a river outside a Roman colony, everything changed, not because she finally figured it out, but because the Lord opened her heart. You are part of the same Ekklesia she founded. The first church in Europe met in her house. Her opened heart became the open door through which the gospel entered an entire continent. Do not despise what God is doing in you right now, even if it looks like sitting by a river waiting. One of those listening was a woman named Lydia. The Lord opened her heart to respond. Acts 16:14, BSB. He opens hearts. He calls sheep by name. He has not forgotten yours. Thanks for watching.